Edwards on the drive, goes inside the floor. Turn him over again. Booker scoops it up. Booker brings the boom.
NBA Hardwood show back on a Tuesday afternoon here, and we got a nice little NBA main slate on DraftKings. 6 games total in the association today with my guy DC breaking it all down. DC coming off of a interesting Monday night where the NFL was very boring, but the NBA had some banger games, especially Mr. Cade Cunningham going for a 40-point triple-double. Jaime Jaquez with a massive game last night. Grayson Allen with the craziest Grayson Allen game you might ever watch in your life. I mean, we had some wild scoring last night.
Yeah, Cade got close to 100 DraftKings points, didn't he? I think he was
he was
right
like
there.
90-something, 96 maybe, something like that.
Monster game from him. You had to have him. And then some big chalk failing too, right? Ronald Holland was like, played the $100 single entry, and he was like 88% owned, something crazy like that. I did fade him on one of my 3, but didn't have Cade on that team, so didn't get the right combination. But that was interesting. I mean, I when I saw his projected ownership, I was like, man, there are definitely ways this doesn't go super well for Holland. So yeah, always got to in the age of projections in DFS, it's easy. It happens to me sometimes too, JSU, where you just see the number, right, and the projection or the value number, and you still got to use your brain, right, and think what could happen. I'm not saying he was necessarily a bad play, but it's easy to just look at the projections and just believe them. And when you get crazy ownership like that, I do think it kind of is worth pointing out. It's worth considering, especially like a wing player, right? A guy who's not going to have the ball in his hands. When you get a point guard that's projected just to have the ball all the time at 4,300, that's a little different, but just something to think about there. And yeah, man, that NFL game, I was, just scrolling through shit on my phone, just kind of, waiting for something to happen in the game, and got to like the fourth quarter, and I realized like I've watched like 10 plays of this game. I've just been fucking dicking around and doing nothing, wasting time, and don't really think I missed much. It's been a tough week of primetime games. I think the defenses were on 5 of the 6 defenses of the 3 primetime games.
Double defense optimal DC has been crushing lately in these primetime games for Showdown. I have not been on them, and it has absolutely crushed me every single time.
You knew early in that one too. It's going to be a freaking defensive battle. Boring game for sure.
Yeah, it was really bad too. So I think it was Warren Sharp put out a stat like a little later in the game, and he was like, the Packers, I think it was second down runs. They did it like 75 or 80% of their second downs, and they averaged 1.9 yards on those carries. Like pretty much just like the most predictable shit ever on second down. You're just running the football every single time, and like the defenses know it. And then the defenses at the end of the game are like, they're running over there. Like literally they just know every play that you're going to do on like some of the biggest downs. It's not good when that was it. And then on top of it, Jordan Love was just really, really bad. Honestly, I thought the Eagles were in control the entire game because of how bad Jordan Love was. But if the Packers got even decent Jordan Love, not even good DC, just like okay Jordan Love, they win that game literally 100 out of 100 times because the Eagles gave them really nothing. It was the 2 defensive linemen, Carter and the other guy's name, that were just killing them. inside on those runs. They were wrecking a shit ton of those runs and giving them some issues. But it was Jordan Love processing down the field. He was coming off of guys way too quickly. He was like starting to run when the pocket was still somewhat clean, way too fast. He wasn't letting plays develop, going through reads. You could just see it. They even highlighted some of the plays. Like there was a big third down where if he just waited another second with the ball, Christian Watson came like wide open. It was like the play, it was designed to throw to Christian Watson too. I saw like someone talking about it, and it was like he threw it to Luke Musgrave, but the play was literally designed for the linebacker to come up on Luke Musgrave to open up Christian Watson in the middle of the field. And there was no pressure. There was no reason for him to throw the football. That was the crazy part. Like but he just kept doing it. And it lost the Packers the game. The Packers, and I bet the Eagles. I had the Eagles in the under. By the way, Print Factory went 8-1 on 9 bets of the week. So only Big T screwed us with a loss, DC. I almost turned $10 into like 10 or 12K or whatever it was. Thanks, Big T. You really fucked us there.
What did Big T miss on? What was his miss?
Honestly, his miss was, I thought, pretty good. He had the over in the Baltimore game, which I honestly watched that entire game. I thought that game was going over the entire game, and it didn't. So yeah.
McCarthy ain't it, man. I'm not impressed with McCarthy. And
McCarthy might not be it, but like Baltimore, I thought even Baltimore left some drives on the table where like they should have done better and didn't. So it was kind of both. But
why can the refs not see the false starts where the guards start early before the ball is snapped? I don't understand.
Crazy. Both teams did it, and they didn't call it the first time. Yeah. And then the second time, the Packers did it, and they got whistled for it. It's ridiculous. Put a ref right down the line. I mean, do something like
there's someone right there. I mean, it seems like they're really like most of the time, really sticklers on false start stuff, right? Like a tiny flinch, and now they can't see it for it. I mean, they either got to figure out how to officiate that play correctly or get rid of it. It has to be one or the other. You can't.
I honestly think, DC, they're just going to get rid of it. So I think it's going to happen. I think it's going to happen at some point soon, either this year or at the end of the year or next year or whatever. I think that play is going to be gone. Not that it should be or shouldn't be. Honestly, I think fairly done. It's a play, but it's got to be fair. You can't just allow two guys to move before the ball's even snapped to get an advantage. And that's what players have been calling it out too, DC. They've been saying like, there's a little something they're doing maybe that's unfair, but that's just the way it is. But yeah, the football game was rough. Jordan Love was so bad though. Like I can't even stress enough how bad Jordan Love was in that game. The Packers play calling was bad, but Jordan Love was definitely the worst. And then like going for it on fourth and a bunch, like I love being aggressive, but it was almost like overkill. Like they did it from the jump. 4th and 9, I think one time. It was just a very odd game.
Been able to get anything going all game.
Yeah. And it's not like the Eagles were like, just moving the football. I get going for it when it's like, we can't stop the offense. Yeah. Screw it. We got to score. That wasn't the game. Like they were slowing the Eagles down too. It is what it is, but whatever. We got NBA to talk here and some 5 games to discuss here on the main slate. Like I said, 6 games total in the association tonight. I think the one game we're missing is the Denver-Sacramento game. That is the late 11 o'clock NBC Peacock game. DC, I know you'll be staying up nice and late for that one. Starts at 11. You got you're a Nuggets fan, right? You're in Denver, right? You're a Nuggets fan.
I am in Denver. Yeah, I'm a Wolves fan though.
You're not a Nuggets fan. You're a Wolves fan.
I mean, I do root for the Nuggets when just in neutral situations, but it's hard to be a fan of 2 teams in the same conference. So I am Wolves over Nuggets,
Especially
unfortunately.
two teams that have been battling for a few years now. You gotta choose your side, I guess, when that happens. But man, this Nuggets team, they look pretty legit so far this year. But we'll see what happens as we get down the stretch. But either way, let's get into the hoops talk. DC, Memphis, and New York. First game on the slate, and this is one of those slates, DC, where so far we don't have like a ton of crazy news that's opening up like a ton of stuff. Like in some of these other slates, like you talked about Detroit last night, where they were missing like a bunch of guys. We don't really have that on this slate, and we might not get that on this slate. But we did get some news, that can play large, I guess, like Joel Embiid being ruled out, a couple of, bench guys for Utah getting ruled out. There are a few things, and then there's a few things that we might get a little later. One of them's in this game, and I think just because of the slate, DC, and the news that we're kind of waiting on, which isn't like huge news, I do think someone like Mitch Robinson being questionable and possibly missing is a decent piece of news to kind of wait on here. And it's the first game of the slate, so we're going to get this news before lock, so you don't have to worry about it. But I do think if Mitch Rob plays, he's a decent value at that price tag. I think he's 4,200 on DraftKings. Mm-hmm. And if he's out, I do think Josh Hart at 5,400 becomes a much better play at that price tag with this slate. I also think, with the limited studs on this slate, you got to look at a Cat or a Brunson. I think I lean Cat in this game here against Memphis. But what do you see here, New York and Memphis in the Garden?
Yeah, if this slate kind of stays like it is right now, and there's really not that many questionable players that we're waiting on, I think you'll see ownership really spread out, right? There doesn't look like really any kind of, Ronald Hollands of the world that are going to be super, super popular. So could be a fun one with spread out ownership. I think those slates are more fun in general. But yeah, this game in particular, I'm with you on Towns. I do think he's the best spend in this game. Mostly looking at spends here, right? There's not, outside of Mitchell Robinson, if he does play, we got to watch that news. But there's not a lot of value in this game. Obviously, the Knicks, no Thibodeau anymore, but they still pretty much go through all their starters, big minutes, leaving not much, kind of scraps for the bench guys. So, yeah, Towns makes sense. I think you can look at Brunson. It would be those two for New York. And then Memphis, man, I don't know what to do with them. I mean, Ja Morant, kind of the, trade rumors, stuff swirling around him. Another bad game last time out. I can't play him right now at 8,300, so I'll be off of the Ja Morant train. But, at least per Saber, he's going to be the most popular player in this game. Don't really get that one myself, but probably won't end up going there. Jaren Jackson would be a better play. Just a huge amount of upside, I think, for Jackson. Not necessarily because of the matchup, just because of the type of player he is, but even he's been a little bit pedestrian so far this year. So, it's going to be kind of the case with a lot of these games where there's nothing standing out, I don't think, here that you have to play. But yeah, Towns, Brunson, my two favorite from the Knicks. And then on the Memphis side, I'm a little bit lower on them in this game. I think that the Knicks potentially take care of business in this one. And I don't see a lot on Memphis that I'm dying to get into my teams, especially Morant. I just haven't played him all year, and I'm not buying in tonight for the first time at 8,300. So mostly Knicks for me here, JSU.
Yeah, and Ja Morant, one of the point guards, close to the top in the flow chart. Looking at AP's flow chart over on the site, and Ja Morant is up there. But I'm kind of with you. Like, I know he had that one game, but outside of that, it's been pretty pedestrian, not very good. We know there's issues going on with the coach, and is Ja Morant kind of checked out? Does he want out? What's going on there? I will say, like, playing in the Garden, maybe there's a little something to it, but I think if I spend up, I do like Cat as my favorite spend up in this slate. And that's saying something because I'm not a big Cat fan, but I do think this is a really good spot for Cat in Memphis against someone like Jaren Jackson, who, Cat loves the flop. Jaren Jackson loves the foul. It seems like a bad spot in general for him. And I think it's a good spot for Cat. So
it's gonna be painful for you rooting for the Cat flops for the foul.
It's gonna be really painful for me. I think Cat and Josh Hart right now, if Mitch Rob's out, I think are the two plays that I'm into. If Mitch Rob is in, it makes me like everything a little bit less. But I would like still the bigs. I would still like Mitch Rob, Cat. I think would be interesting. I might just come off of the Josh Hart love a little bit. But 5,400, I think you can still kind of keep him in the pool. One guy though that I like for Memphis, I think out of everyone, the kid that I like the most actually is this Cedric Coward kid. He comes off the bench, but he plays starters minutes. And honestly, I've watched a couple of his last games, and I thought there was some to be left on the table with him in his game. You can go back and look from the field. He's played 29, 28, and 29 minutes, DC. He's had 9, 9, and 10 rebounds in his last 3 games. But he shot 2 for 10 from the field, 7 for 10 from the field, and 4 for 12 from the field. So 2 of those games, not so bad, not very good shooting games. And in those bad shooting games, he still had 27.8 fantasy points and 34.5 fantasy points. If this slate is a slate where we don't have like really good value and we have to go more into the mid tier, which I think this slate could be, I think Cedric Howard is a pretty good sneaky little tournament play. And what do we got right now with him from an ownership standpoint, DC? It can't be that high owned, right?
No, he's 15, 16%, which honestly could be a little bit lower. I know AP tweeted about it yesterday. People just don't like playing expensive players off the bench, right? They just don't want to play. I mean, I get why, but he was talking about Jaime Jaquez, who we've talked a lot about on the show. We've been high on him all year long.
He crushed yesterday. He crushed.
And it reminds me a little bit of Coward, right? Where, yes, he's coming off the bench, but I mean, the minutes are super consistent. I mean, he's been between 28 and 31 minutes in 5 straight games, hasn't played fewer than 20 minutes all season long. And those were, those 22-minute games were the first 2 of the year before he kind of established himself. So, who cares if he's going to play his 30 minutes anyway? If he was in the starting lineup, all of a sudden his ownership would probably double, and you would arguably be in a worse spot, right? Playing more minutes with the starters, having lower usage in that scenario. So I like him, in particular, but I do think it's worth just bringing up in general some of these bench guys with secure minutes, right? I do think get lower owned than they should be in general.
Yeah. And like you look at like KCP, Jalen Wells, these are the guys that are starting, right? DC, and they're probably starting over someone like Howard. He's still getting more minutes than those guys off the bench. So those are the starters, but he's playing more in the end. So, they're cheaper, obviously. He's a little more expensive now, but those are the guys once, at some point this year, he will start, I think. I don't know when it will be. At some point he will. And those are the guys, because once he starts, those minutes go from 28, 29, they go to 32, 33, and that's when he'll show like the full potential upside. But I still think he can outdo that price tag at 5,800, and someone that we should keep an eye on here. From Memphis, a team that, really hasn't been good. Defense hasn't been that great. And the Knicks aren't like the easiest matchup. Knicks have been better defensively. It's a tougher spot, I think, with the Knicks kind of wing defenders that they have. But, I think he's good enough to get it done even in a tough spot. So, I don't mind him. Not much else from the Grizzlies that I really like, and I want to wait and see what the Mitch Rob news, what happens with that. So, Yeah, that's Memphis and New York here. Jaren Jackson, you brought him up. I can't do the Jaren Jackson thing. He is just he's got to show me some upside at some point this year. Like
I pulled a big T and clicked on the game log and now I'm on your side.
Yeah, if you just pull up that game log, you're gonna be on my side for sure because the game log looks very, very rough here.
Game log Tuesdays here in the association.
That's right, game log. Yes, game log Tuesdays. We're bringing it back for Big T. He'll love it. I'm sure he's watching. He'll love game log Tuesdays. It was game log Mondays for baseball. Now we're making it game log Tuesdays for NBA. Exactly. I like that. Maybe we'll even get a guest appearance if we start doing it. Maybe we'll get a guest appearance from Big T. But all right, let's go to the next game here. Toronto at Brooklyn. We talked about bad defenses. Memphis has been bad. Brooklyn has been the worst defense in all of the NBA this year. They've only won one game, which is not surprising. Cam Thomas is out still for them. And no Day'Ron Sharpe, who, I mean, it is, he does have a role. He is the backup center, Nick Claxton. Losing him, I would assume that, they get someone to kind of fill into his role, DC, but it's got to help, maybe Nick Claxton, Noah Clowney a little bit here. Maybe Noah Clowney a little bit more from the maybe his minutes go up a couple. But it's got to help them. And they are at home. No Cam Thomas. I don't know. There's got to be some plays here we can pull. I know we don't love playing Brooklyn, but this is a slate where I think we might have to look at some of these Brooklyn guys. I like Nick Claxton at 6,400 still. I think there's still some meat left on that bone at 6,400. He's got upside. He showed 50-point upside here. And I think, maybe the athleticism could give someone like Podol a little bit of issues pulling him out from, below that rim. And, Noah Clowney at 4,600, I think he's the best of that 4K range of Brooklyn Nets, which there's a bunch of them. I think he's the clear favorite, even though he's very scoring dependent. And you can just see it from the last couple of games.
Yeah, I think the Brooklyn big situation is the most interesting spot to look at in this game with Day'Ron Sharpe out, right? Who was like a true direct backup to Nick Claxton, like pretty much those two, just subbed in and out for each other. And then nobody else really getting any minutes at the 5 outside of garbage time. So it has to be a bump for Claxton, right? Especially playing at home, a winnable game here for Brooklyn. I mean, they are 10-point dogs, but Toronto's not that great. You could see Claxton, if he's playing well, I mean, he could push to, I think, 35, 36 minutes. You don't project him for that, but it's at least possible where it's almost never going to happen if Sharpe is in there. Is there a chance, JSU, that Clowney plays the backup 5 minutes?
Well, that's why I was wondering, like, maybe we bump Clowney's minutes a little bit because maybe there's a chance. I mean, I think that they could give like Danny Wolf a shot, who they drafted. He was one of their, wasn't he one of their like 5 first-round picks?
Yeah, so many picks.
Yeah. So he hasn't really played that much this year. I think he got in one game this year. He's been kind of relegated to the bench. But I could see him doing it if they don't like rotate. No, Clowney's not a center. He's definitely not really a center. The way he plays, very finesse, type of like 3-4 guy, but he is like 6'10", so he could, in theory.
Yeah. I think the more likely thing is that Claxton gets more minutes, and they don't want to, especially in a close game, if they don't want to go to Wolf or EJ Liddell. So yeah, Claxton 6,400. I think the upside's there. Pretty good matchup against Toronto. I like that call. Thomas out as well. So I think Porter always has the upside, right? Just because I like the guys that bomb away from 3. To me, those guys have just kind of more variance, but more upside too, right? You get hot, you can make a bunch of threes. I mean, he had a 44-point fantasy game where he thought, shot 1 of 12 from 3. So Porter, I think, is a guy who does have quite a bit of upside. He'd be number 2 for me from the Nets. And then, I think Clowney would be 3. And then Toronto, Scotty Barnes, I think, is the best play. Did you see, by the way, the Brandon Ingram water bottle slam that like went in the cameraman's face?
That was a good strong slam from Brandon Ingram. That was strong.
At least say you're sorry. Don't be an asshole about it. But
do you think he even like realized that his teammate and the cameraman got like splashed? Because I think Scotty Barnes got kind of like splashed too, right?
Mm-hmm.
He went to sit down and then just boom, and he stood right up.
It happened like 1 foot away from him. I would think so, but I don't know.
Brandon Ingram, he's always kind of seemed like a kind of a douche.
Yeah,
that's just my opinion. I've never been a fan of Brandon Ingram. Like I don't like the way he plays either. So maybe it's a little harsh, but I don't really care. I think he plays like a guy who's it's just all about him. I don't.
To be honest, like fourth team, 4th or 5th team, something like that already. It seems like
and he's not like good enough playing that way to be like the man. He wants to be like the man. And it to be all about it is just he's not like that tier. You know
like
what I mean? Where he can do that.
The Bill Simmons special, like good stats, bad team type of guy. Where
and awful shot selections, just awful.
Not a winning player, but talented player, can put up numbers. I do think he's an okay play tonight against everybody against Brooklyn. You've got to at least consider. But Barnes is my favorite, and then Ingram and Barrett would be 2 and 3. I really haven't been on quickly too much, but he is coming off 2 pretty good games in a row. Maybe need to reconsider that a little bit. Just tough with Toronto. They got 4 guys who kind of need the ball in their hands. But they do get the consistent minutes. The matchup is there. I wouldn't play too many of these guys in the same lineup, but I think maybe 1 or 2 of the Toronto big 4 does make some sense tonight.
Yeah, I mean, Clowney and Claxton have been starting, so I don't think that's something to worry about there, especially with them losing another big. I don't see why they would change that in the starting lineup. I know they went to Igor Demin recently all of a sudden, but I don't know why they wouldn't. Like, this team stinks. They stunk when they weren't really playing the rookies or going to the like. Why aren't you just playing these rookies? Like, play more of Igor Demin and Ben Saraf. Give one of them 30 minutes a night. That's what I would do if I was the Nets. I'd be like, all right, this game's you, Demin. This game's you, Saraf. Like, we stink anyways. Who cares? Like, let's see if these like young guys can develop a little bit. I don't get why they're not doing that more, but nope, they're really not. It'd be interesting to see though who they run as the backup center. If it is Danny, if I knew for a fact it was Danny Wolf, like he is stone 3K. It's just not a slate where we have a ton of studs. Like if this slate was like a Lucas slate, I could think about it. It's just not, so we probably don't need it. But Demin. What did I fall for? What did I miss? I don't even know what I missed. I fell for something though, apparently. Either way, though, what?
Yeah, Wolf is a little bit interesting. I mean, it's like you said.
I just don't think it's a slate you're going to need it. Is the problem? But he would be interesting if I knew he was going to play. Here, I like the Toronto side though. I think a little more than you talked about. I don't really like BI, but I do like Scotty Barnes. I think it's a great matchup for him to just crush. It's a good matchup for Quickly, Jakob Poeltl. Those are guys I think Jakob Poeltl can do work on the interior, just really dominate the glass against guys like Claxton and Clowney and stuff. So what sucks is his minutes aren't really secure. That's the one thing that sucks with Poeltl. But he has 5,600, and I think 25 minutes, he could give you a double-double. He could give you 30-ish fantasy points or something like that. So maybe he is a little bit of a economy play, but if he gets a few more minutes, even if he goes from 25 to 27, 28, he's probably a much better play here in this spot. But I like Quickly. I like Scotty Barnes. I like Podol. I think it's a good spot to attack a team like Brooklyn and then just hope that the Brooklyn Nets don't get blown out, because that's kind of the way the game loses, is if like Brooklyn Nets blow out, unless you're just playing Toronto. But that's kind of the way I look at it, because I will want like a net piece or two. I mean, we didn't talk about Zaire Williams. I think he's in play on a bad value slate. So there are other guys. I just don't want to go too far into the Nets, because we've seen how that works out sometimes, where you got like, they got like Drake Powell they're giving minutes to, and Martin, Demon. I mean, who's your favorite DC outside of Noah Clowney? Like, who's your next 4K guy? Is it Zaire?
Probably Zaire, yeah, but it's like some of these guys, like you wouldn't even be surprised if like they just like get a DNP out of nowhere, because they just have so many dudes, right? It's just hard to trust these Nets outside of the main guys. So I doubt I'll get there. Probably mostly sticking with Claxton and Clowney myself.
All right, there we go. That's Toronto and Brooklyn here. Next game up, Boston and Philly. Before we hit this game, I do just want to mention, if you guys are playing on DraftKings Sportsbook, they do have the King of the Court tonight. They're running it every single Tuesday. Pretty much $5 minimum. You go on, you make a bet on DraftKings for your favorite, player, prop, or whatever. It can be, points, rebounds, assists, points, rebounds, and assists. Double, triple, whatever you want. You throw at least $5 on it. And if that player has the most points, rebounds, assists at the end of the night, you get to split a bigger prize pool of, is it $1 million or $2 million, DC?
I'm not sure.
I'll pull it up right now. I think it's $1 million, but yeah, it's 1 million. So you get to split $1 million with whoever else picked that player. So if you like Scotty Barnes tonight, you think he has the most points, rebounds, and assists, bet any of his pretty much player props with the King of the Court token or whatever, and $5 is the minimum, but you can put more on it if you want. If he ends up being the leader, then you get the split with whoever else picked Scotty Barnes. And this is one of those slates, like, we got to add Jokic to the slate. Jokic, SGA. But after those guys, DC, it kind of falls off a cliff in terms of like the top tier studs, because it's not like a massive slate. So I do think you always have, the likelihood it's going to be one of those two guys is probably pretty high. But in blowouts and stuff like that, you never know what can happen. And we just saw Grayson fucking Allen put up 42 actual points. So anything is possible, in the words of KG. That is legit true when it comes to the imagine. I know Cade would have won it. Obviously, Cade would have won it. But like, imagine like Detroit was fully healthy and Cade just had like a normal game and Grayson Allen was actually the winner. That would have been crazy on like a King of the Court slate, DC. Yeah, it would have been like one or two people splitting that $1 million.
You and Grayson Allen's mom would have got $500K each.
Literally, yeah, Grayson Allen's mom.
Wouldn't have been me. I'm Grayson Allen, King of the Court. I'll tell you that much. But yeah, no, I think what the true condom play is, JSU, is betting the under on points, rebounds, assists as your King of the Court, so you get the $5.
Yeah, so you win your $5 if you lose. That would be funny, actually. That would be funny. DC, do you have like a leader in the clubhouse? I know we're only 2 games in, but or should we? We'll wait. We'll give our picks at the end. That's a better idea. So
yeah,
we don't want to get into it too much, but check that out on DraftKings Sportsbook if you do bet over there, which you should. Best sportsbook by far. King of the Court tonight. It's only $5 too. So $5 to have a chance at, I don't know, if you bet Jokic, probably a $15 bonus bet. And if you bet some random, maybe a few thousand, DC, if it's like a random guy ish. And then, the Steph Currys and below, probably like 50, around there, but
or
have a chance at that.
or $1 million if you got the Grayson Allen call, and then that one comes through. So I don't get that far down the list, but yeah, it's an awesome promo, really fun to sweat it out. So looking forward to it. Yeah, Boston and Philly. I mean, Tyrese Maxey might end up being my selection here. I continue to think he's underprojected for whatever reason, JSU. I mean, we're what, 10, 12 games into the NBA season here. He's averaging more DraftKings fantasy points per game than SGA is, right? And he's just not projected like that. And you see it in the ownership. I mean, 5% owned for Maxey. I get it, the 10-3 price tag, but he's earned it. No Joel Embiid tonight. And you get the 40 minutes pretty much from Maxey every night, assuming no blowout or whatever. So, I really, really like Maxey as a low-owned spend, as a king of the court selection. Makes a lot of sense to me. So, yeah, love Maxey as a contrarian spend up tonight.
DC, do you remember we were on this show? It was last Tuesday, I think, and it might have been even a shorter slate. It might have been a 4-game slate. I can't remember. But remember, Tyrese Maxey on a slate with very few studs was like 15% owned or 10% owned and just smashed on that slate. And you needed him. You pretty much needed him and Josh Giddey. They both just absolutely crushed on that slate. Do you remember they put up like 60 plus fantasy points?
Yep, I do remember. Yeah, you needed the Maxey
like that. And he was only like 15% owned on a like short slate with not that many studs. It's just insane. I don't know why he doesn't get, I don't know why people don't like him. I don't know why, what has he done this year to make you be like, oh, he's a bad player? He's been so good this year. He's outdone the projections that are all around the industry. He's outdone those projections in every single game this year. I'm with you. I don't know why. I get it. The Boston matchup isn't, I guess, ideal from the standpoint. Like Boston plays at one of the slowest paces in the NBA. Philly's kind of middling. It's probably not the best from that standpoint. But when you look at what Tyrese Maxey does, I mean, he's taken 20 plus shots in the majority of his games, and he does everything for this team. He plays 38, 39 minutes. Sometimes he gets in the 40s. Look at his game logs, DC. Like he's playing minutes, and that's what we want. Like some of the studs, they don't get like the Tyrese Maxey, youthful minute run out where he's legit playing 39. Even if you look at the Boston games here, last 2 Boston games, and I know there was an overtime game in there, but 41 and 44 minutes, so, okay, he's playing like between 38 and 42 minutes a night. I'll take that from my stud.
Yeah, I mean, two of his best games of the year came against Boston already. He put up 66 fantasy points against him last time and 60 in the game in the season opener. In the last game, I mean, that was a low-scoring game, 108 to 109, and you got 66 fantasy points. Like the floor is there every night because the minutes are always there. And then the ceiling's there too. I mean, he can drop 50 real points on any given night. So I love Maxey at low ownership, especially on a slate where, there's not a ton of value, it doesn't look like. It's a good way to just get different right off the bat, play a different stud than other people are going to. And there you go. You can kind of play chalk around it if you want to. So I love Maxey here. No Embiid. I do think you could go back to Edgecombe, who's been, a little bit slowed down after the hot start, but decent spot for him. But yeah, it's mostly Maxey's really the guy I want with Philly, especially with no Embiid on the floor. I know people looking at Andre Drummond. He has been good in 2 of the last 3. Somewhat interesting play there. I do think he's got upside, clearly. So yeah, maybe a Maxey Drummond combination makes some sense. And then on the Boston side, we'll see. No real news with them, right? They got pretty much everybody healthy, so they're a tough team to pick from, right? With White and Brown and Pritchard and the rest when everyone besides Tatum is in there. So kind of like the Philly side here, even though maybe not the best spot in the world.
Yeah, I mean, this is the slate though, DC. I think you can make the case that like on a bigger slate, a lot of these games, you wouldn't really be playing a lot of these plays in a lot of these games on like a massive slate, but it's only 5 games. You got to pick from. I agree with you. I think Maxi and like I think I'm just locking them in there. I think I'm going to play them on majority of my teams and move on. But the other plays from Philly, I do think you can go to the bigs because obviously with no Joel Embiid, no Barlow, who played some early, still out. Guys like Trendon Watford, who's shown upside. Again, not an ideal matchup. Likes to push it a little bit, but 4,800. He's got, I think in the last, 5 games, he's got 2 games over 30 and 1 game where he threw up a 62 ball, DC, and he's 4,800. So Trendon Watford, I think, is interesting here. And then, if I see Drummond starting at 5,300, I think you can, play him if that's the case as well. I'm less interested in like the Kelly Oubre's, Quentin Grimes. I wish they'd price Quentin Grimes and some of these guys so I could think about playing them. You know what I mean? Because he's getting decent minutes here, and I do think he's a good player. I just 6,300. I wish he was in the Josh Hart to Cedric Coward range. 54 to 58. I could kind of think about it. I struggle when he's a little more expensive. When he's closer to Edgecombe and Kelly Oubre, I kind of struggle with that. But Drummond gonna swing his meat. So there you go. John Daly said, I like that. Drummond gonna swing his meat. So 5,300 for Drummond. I like that. The Boston side, I'm kind of with you, DC. But again, it's a short slate. I think we need to look at someone. Anthony Simons, 4,500, coming off of just the absolute Anthony Simons type game. 23 minutes, 25 actual points, only 32 fantasy points though, with a 25 ball. DC, that's exactly what I'd expect from someone like Anthony Simons here. He's completely scoring dependent. But he is at least now, he was in the 6K range to start the year. And I was like, you can't even think about playing him at 6,700, 6,300, just never. And even in the 5K range, I was like, nope, can't play him. But now he's in the 4K range. I think you can at least consider him at 4,500. I think you consider guys like Pritch and Derek White too. It's just maybe too many of them, but if you make me pick, I think it'd be the cheaper guys. If I fall into Pritchard as my last guy in, I'm okay with it. I'm fine with it, but not someone I'm forcing in here. And I think that goes for most of Boston. I wish Luka Garza got more consistent run because whenever he gets consistent run, I feel like he can put up some numbers. It's just 11, 13, 7 minutes doesn't cut it. He got 17 minutes last game, put up 32 against Orlando. Problem is just defensively, they're always going to not like his defense, and he's going to always get in trouble with Missoula because he's not very good on defense. But I wish he got a little bit more consistent run here. I don't see much else from Boston. What about Cada for you? Any Cada at 4,800 if we get no value?
Yeah, I always kind of question his upside a little bit, but he's had a couple big games this year, so yeah, I think he's a decent play. I like the Simons call, partly because I don't really I don't love Pritchard and Derek White and Jaylen Brown necessarily, so he is kind of a good hedge against those guys, right? If anything goes wrong for any of those guys, Simons could be the guy that benefits. It gets out there for foul trouble or injury or just not playing well, whatever it is. And he's the type of player where the minutes are volatile, which I think most people try to avoid those players. But I actually like those players when they're cheap, right? You don't want to pay for the volatile minutes, but when you get down to the 4,500 range, he's going to get a chance. He's probably going to chuck when he gets out there, and he's a talented enough player that if the ball is going through the hoop, maybe they just let him go, leave him out there and let him keep filling it up. So I like embracing the variance with players like him, and he kind of makes sense on this slate. So I like that Simon's call at 4,500.
Yeah, and if you look at like who's around him, he's positioned around Isaiah Joe, Svi, Colin Murray Boyles, Robinson Earl, Alex Caruso, a KCP, Quentin Post,
He's got more
Igor
upside.
Demon.
He's got more upside.
Yeah.
Really
Yeah. And at least, like you said, he's going to chuck when he gets out there. It's the one good thing for fantasy, And yeah, this is a pick 'em. Garza in a blowout. These two teams, I feel like they probably play each other tough, but yeah, if it's a blowout, that definitely would help him at 3,300. All right, let's go to Golden State and OKC. I saw my boy Raul in the chat earlier. He was coming for you, DC. He wants you to repent on all your Steph Curry nonsense that you like to throw out there. Steph Curry back from an illness. I think he's missed a couple games with said illness, and he will be back tonight, 8,800. And by far the most bizarre pricing of the slate, Jonathan Kuminga at 8K. I mean, 8K DC. I don't know Al Horford that we just kind of got before the show started, but you couldn't pay me to play Jonathan Kuminga at 8K.
Yeah, it won't be on my lineup. And I think it's Rahul who needs to repent and apologize to me. His guys, Steph Curry is so old, he has to miss a week because he's got the sniffles.
Oh, DC, you're going after him after you said it's not personal. DC's a nice guy. Wow.
No, I made it personal.
It made it personal.
We'll leave the sick Curry to Rahul. I'm not paying the 8,800 for him. Definitely not paying the 8K for Kuminga. I don't know. It's like a fat finger situation over at DraftKings. Someone typed an 8 instead of a 6.
Instead of a 6,
yeah. I don't know what's going on there because he was right around that 6K mark.
I mean, even with Curry out, like 8K is egregious. Like even with him out, 8K is way too much. So with him in, it's just I don't know how you get to that price tag.
Yeah, I don't know. Not playing Curry. Obviously, no Kuminga. Butler's going to be back in there. OKC is so good, right? I mean, what are they, like 11-1 to start the year, something crazy like that? I don't like picking on them very much. So, and a healthy Golden State team for the most part. I think I'm pretty much out on Golden State here. OKC side, though, does look interesting. I mean, obviously, SGA, one of the better plays at the slate, even at 10.8K. And then they are a little bit banged up on the wing as well, right? Missing Jalen Williams still out, but then Dort and Aaron Wiggins going to sit this game out. Problem is, they're just so deep, the Thunder, even with those guys out. I mean, they've still got Caruso, Joe, Wallace, right? And we got Holmgren back as well. So a few more minutes available for the OKC wings, which I think might be a decent way to attack this one.
Yeah. So on the OKC side, this Ajay Mitchell, however you say, AJ Mitchell, however you call his name, this dude's been balling. He's been balling all friggin' year, and he just gets better and better every time I watch him. I'm like, this dude is so good. I remember after like just 2 or 3 games, I was like, they need to make sure they find minutes for this guy, even when everyone's healthy.
The first game of the season, you could see it with him.
Yeah, and he played only 15 minutes against Houston, and I was like, man, they got to find minutes. Like they can't be just giving this guy backup point guard 15 minutes. Like he's very, very good, and you could tell immediately. And he has they have been giving him consistent run. Now I know that they're still not fully healthy, and they really haven't been like fully healthy all year yet. So it'll be interesting when they get all their guys back, how the rotations kind of keep going with him specifically. I want to see, because they are kind of loaded at guard with, Case and Wallace and Alex Caruso. Obviously they have SGA. They got Lou Dort that plays that, that 2-3 role. But when Jalen Williams comes back, they sometimes play big, sometimes play small. So maybe Jalen gets pushed up to the 4 more to keep AJ Mitchell in the lineup. But yeah, he's very good. I will say though, he's the guy I have interest in still, a little bit of interest. I think Case and Wallace, 5,200. If I was like 150ing, I think you could keep him in your pool. Those are probably the two guys on OKC I don't mind. But on the Golden State side, I think not having Lou Dort has got to help a Steph Curry or a Jimmy Butler a little bit here. I think I lean more Steph Curry, even though Case and Wallace is a very good defender. I expect him to be on Curry, running around with him a good amount. But I do think losing Lou Dort kind of hurts this matchup here. The only thing that makes me pause, DC, is the fact that he's missed 3 games, because 8,800 is too cheap for Steph Curry. I know it's a tough matchup, but it's a very nice price tag for Steph Curry. So I go back and forth on like Steph Curry or Jimmy Butler. They're probably going to be low owned on this slate. No one's going to want to click their names. They're projecting really bad right now in terms of projection here. But I don't know. I think playing Steph Curry in large field tournaments isn't a terrible idea if you want to embrace the variance a little bit and hopefully he's okay from a minute standpoint and they don't ease him back in. So I kind of like him. I don't know how you can play the rest of Golden State though. Like Steph, Jimmy, okay. The rest of these guys look way too expensive. Like not one guy will be in my pool.
Very readable message here from your guy Rahul. This can you just?
What am I looking at here?
I don't know.
Rahul, just tell me like Curry smashes, bro. That's all you got to tell me. Just say Curry smashes. I do like Curry a lot more, so I think I'm higher on him than you.
Yeah, I think Golden State gets blown out here. Just too old, man. I don't like this Golden State team against the Thunder, who are playing super well, play awesome defense. In OKC, I think they get down to business. So I'm off the Warriors entirely.
I agree with DF. How much money Rubio? How much damn money does Rubio need? Leave some for us, Rubio. I agree. If Rubio's watching, leave some damn money for us on the table. Won another $25K last night in NBA. He said he faded fucking Ron Holland and had Grayson Allen in his lineup. Just the absolute nut lineup with Cade and Grayson Allen. And then he had the Sar Duran combo, which was I love that combo. That was in my core. And I know Rubio is a huge Sar guy, so it just made total sense that the team. The Grayson Allen play, though, Rubio, that's legendary right there.
Such a Rubio play, Grayson Allen. Yeah.
You're never going to forget when a guy like Grayson Allen puts up 60 for you. It's like when Kevin Huerter put up 50-something for me and I won all those live final tickets on the same night. You'll never forget when those random plays like that have like not even like 30 DC or like 4, like when they have like the outlier, like this will never happen again, probably in my lifetime. See Grayson Allen put up 60 and or Kevin Huerter put up like 56 or whatever he did. You'll just never forget those things.
Yeah. Especially in the late game to close it out. Just a legendary performance from Grayson Allen.
Yeah, so legendary. I know Rubio, he had to be going nuts as he was watching. No one sweats harder than Rubio. So literally nobody. I mean, he was probably drinking Red Bull, sweating like crazy, had to change shirts like 10 different times. Definitely change his soccer jerseys 10 different times.
Went through a whole case of Red Bull. Yeah, couldn't sleep all night. That'd be a good movie.
I guarantee you that's fact. It's right. Shout out Red Velvet. Brett knows. Shout him out. All right. And Raul was pretty much saying that Curry and SGA both smashed, I think, last time they played. So, all right. Maybe the Curry SGA combo is the nuts. I want to play Maxey. I want to play Maxey on this slate. So I don't know if I'm going to get to both guys, but maybe one of them, maybe I can get to one of them here. So, all right, DC, let's move on to the last game of the night, at least on this slate, not of the night because there is a later game, but on this slate, Indiana and Utah. Utah on the back end of a back-to-back here, played last night, playing again tonight here. And a little bit of news from the Utah side, not massive news, but they're going to be again without Taylor Hendricks, who missed last night's game and has been playing, somewhere in that like 17 to 20 minutes a night type thing. And then Kevin Love, who's been playing the backup center role for the last 4 or 5 games, played 17 minutes last night. He is also going to be out. So DC, what does this do in terms of, minutes for some of the bigs? And then another big thing we saw with Utah was they finally started old Ace Bailey at the 2. They didn't start Collier, which I think hurt Keontae George when they started him. And they went Ace Bailey. Or no, did they start Collier and Ace Bailey? They might have actually started both of them. Yeah. Maybe not Svi. I can't remember now. I'm blanking on it. But talk about it, because Ace Bailey's 4,300, and he started last night.
Yeah, he's, I think, a really good value here. Is he projected? Yeah, he's right there at near the top of the list for value. Filipowski, though, with Kevin Love out, I believe he's, if I unclick this game and go to all players, yeah, he's the guy with by far the highest value rating per Saber. I like him. It does feel a little Ronald Holland-ish to get 70% Filipowski. I mean, for sure he could bust, right? Put up 15 fantasy points,
definitely.
Yeah, so those are the plays. If you can get off them and call them right, it's obviously painful if they miss. You're pretty much drawn dead, right? If he goes off and the whole field has them, but when they don't, that's a good way to get to the top. So something to consider with Filipowski. I do think if you're fading him, I would probably play Nurkic because I think that's the most likely way Filipowski would bust, right? Is if Nurkic is playing well and kind of just gets all the minutes, which could happen. The last 2 games Utah's played Minnesota, really tough matchup for Nurkic in those ones. Didn't play well against the Minnesota Bigs. Gobert in particular, I think, is a tough matchup for him. But a much better spot here against some pretty weak interior defense from Indiana. So I like Nurkic. Obviously, Filipowski, a good play as well. But yeah, going to be, looks like super, super popular, especially if we don't get any other value. Ace Bailey makes some sense. And I think Keontae George, another big game last night. He's one who can absolutely go off, right? In that 7K range, capable of 45, 50 fantasy points. I mean, he's had 40 plus in, I don't know, like half the games this year, and he's still 7,100. So good matchup too with Indiana. So I like Keontae George quite a bit. Bailey makes sense. And I think Nurkic is a pretty good play in this game as well. So Utah side, maybe the best value overall in the slate. And Indiana, interesting too. Good matchup for them as well. Getting a little bit healthier now. Nembhard obviously back in the fold. Do we know on McConnell yet? Still questionable, right?
Still questionable. So that'll be something we got to wait for. I can't imagine they play him big minutes first game back.
No, probably not. But he would, if he plays, probably plays 15 minutes or whatever. Does muddle up the guard rotation a little bit for Indiana if he's in there. So we'll have to wait on news there. I do think Siakam had the game off last time. He's been kind of doing everything for this team, all the way up at 9,800. Kind of tough to pay that price, honestly, for Siakam, but he'll be super low owned if you do want to get contrarian paying up for another stud.
Yeah, Indiana, they need to start playing Jay Huff more. I've watched enough. Play this man. I love. He's fearless. He pulls from 3. I want more Jay Huff in my life. It has nothing to do with me having like 40% of him in best ball DC. Zero to do with that. It has all to do with the fact that his game is just stroking 3s, and it's beautiful to watch with someone like Jay Huff. So I want more Jay Huff. I want less of Jackson and Tony Bradley. Throw those guys out. Let Jay Huff play 25 minutes a night, please. And
Yeah,
thank
really,
you, Rick Carlisle.
really stroking it, shooting 25% from three from deep from Jay Huff.
But when you see him hit the three, no DC, it looks pure. That's all I'm gonna say. It looks pure. And
they all do when they go through
fearless. And he's fearless. That's what I like about him. He just jacks threes. That's what we want. We want that in fantasy, DC. I want someone who's just gonna just shoot. That's what we want.
That's the JSU type of player. You like the pure scorers, the Allen Iversons of the world.
Of course I do. Of course I do. But no, going back away from my selfishness here a little bit, I think the Pacers are just they're all priced up from when all these guys were out, and now they're starting to get guys back. You know, they got Andrew Nembhard back, Aaron Nesmith's back for this game. Most of their bigs are pretty healthy outside of Obi Toppin. Now they might get TJ back, which I think he would just slide into like backup Andrew Nembhard. So like if Andrew Nembhard plays low 30s minutes, I think TJ gets that, 15 to 17 minute range type backup play there. So I don't know if you can go to TJ at 5K, but I mean, Andrew Nembhard at 6,300 is the only guy from the Pacers that I can even look at 63, but I don't think like you need him. And I do think Keontae George is probably a little better play. I like your Nurk call. It is on a back-to-back, which kind of sucks, but I don't mind it. And then I think the clear two best plays got to be Ace Bailey and Kyle Filipowski, Kelly Filipowski's brother, that type of play there. So 4K, 4,300 for Ace Bailey. I think you got to look towards those guys here. And I think that's about it from Utah and Indiana here. Not much else to kind of say. Small forward does suck tonight, Jay Hill. I agree. Small forward is definitely rough on tonight's slate, especially because like a lot of these small forwards are like priced up. So there are a lot of guys that are small forward eligible you can't even like consider. Like Moses Moody's 5,700, Ben Shepherd's 5,100, Jarris Walker's 6,700 with guys back, Jonathan Kuminga 8K. These are small forwards on this slate. That's a lot of them right there. Aaron Nesmith 6,300 priced up with guys back. There's not much value in the small forward range, and I think that's going to push ownership probably to guys like Zaire Williams. Like people are just like, screw it, let me get a cheap guy. That's kind of why I like Josh Hart a little bit. My guy Cedric Coward is 5,800. That's a small forward play I think is interesting. So, don't just pay up for these overpriced guys. Like DC talked about, at least go, if you're going to go overpriced, get a guy with upside. The floor might suck, but like MPJ, yeah, he's 7,400, but like at least he has the ability to get you 50. You know what I mean? Like that, pay up. If you're going to pay up for someone like that, who at least can get you the 50. Jaylen Brown can at least get you the 50 you need. Don't just overpay for these ridiculous plays like on small forward. That's majority of them. But all right, that's the entire slate, DC. We'll go over our plays of the day, maybe a little king of the court action too here, compiled with our play of the day and our anti-play of the day. We got to keep doing the anti-play of the day. I told you guys, I mean, the whole game was kind of anti-play of the day with the Packers game, so that was kind of easy, but Jordan Love was like the easiest anti-play of all anti-plays. Now, DC, we got to do anti-plays for hoops. Can you pull up the ownership here on Sabre? Let's just the top owned guys right now, according to Sabre.
There it is. Yeah. Filipowski, Nembhard, Nurkic. Outside of Filipowski, this is for all games.
Yeah.
Kind of crazy who the highest owned guys are, at least right now on this slate.
I know who you're going to say. I already know who you're going to say.
Ja Morant. No,
I knew it. I was waiting for it. I was waiting for Ja Morant.
He was either Ja Morant or Sniffles Curry. They're going to be my anti-play. I'll give two. Neither Morant or Curry.
Curry. He's not even on the list. He's not even
He's still gonna bust through.
That's not an anti-play. Anti-plays are the top-owned guys. You gotta take one of these top-owned guys.
Well, then John Morant's my selection then.
I knew that. I knew you were gonna say John Morant. That was just so easy to pick out. Now, normally when I see Cat as one of the higher owned players, but I actually like Cat on this slate, so I can't just blindly pick Cat because I actually like him here. Let's see. Who do I not like at the top? Shooting guard kind of stinks too, so I kind of get why Peyton Pritchard's catching ownership right now, and he's cheap. I'm kind of surprised to see Yusuf Nurkic. Even though I like Yusuf Nurkic, I'm kind of surprised to see him this high owned right now on the slate at 6,100. I get it is a good matchup though. Damn, this is a tough one here. I'll take Yusuf though. I was back and forth on it. I'll take him as my ante. I don't even know. I don't think he'll end up being this high, but maybe he will. I like your call though on Ja. I think that's a good ante play. Yeah, get out of here, Beanair. I can't make fun of you too much because I actually like Cat tonight, but yeah, we still slander Cat on this show. All right, DC, let's go play of the day, and then maybe like your favorite overall play, and then like someone low owned that you like here on this slate.
Play of the day, and I guess he kind of qualifies for all three: King of the Court, Play of the Day, and low owned. We talked about him a lot. My guy Tyrese Maxey, who is right now, they haven't moved him much. 5% owned. I don't know if that'll prove true or not, but if it's true, seems like a great play to me. So give me Tyrese Maxey to fill it up against the Celtics tonight.
Yeah, DC stealing my play. I love that. Tyrese Maxey. You gotta love it there. I'm gonna go Nick Claxton as my favorite play overall. Since you took Tyrese Maxey, I'll go Nick Claxton here, 6,400. I think the sharp news kind of helps him. And I think he smashes on the slate in Toronto here. And then for my low owned play, I should just literally hold hands with you and take Tyrese Maxey too.
There's plenty of room in the Maxey train today.
I'm definitely already playing him, but I'll take a shot on old Trendon Watford here. Trendon Watford, they say 15% owned. We'll see if he gets higher and stuff like that. But I like Trendon Watford, 4,800. We don't have like the crazy value on the slate that we had last slate, but you still are going to need to get some of these guys in the 4K range. I think he's one of the better overall plays in the 4K range there. So I like a little Trendon Watford on this slate. Guys, please, if you enjoyed the show, smash the like button on the video and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Check us out at runpuresports.com. Run Pure Premium if you want all sports, one price plus Saber Sim. That package is awesome. You link it right from the site to Discord. Get connected, get in the Discord, talk sports with us all throughout the day. And if you're just looking for the NBA, you just want the NBA package, we do have NBA single sport package as well, and that can get you into Discord as well. So we got you covered if you just want the NBA here. But all the sports are going right now: college basketball, college football, NFL. No better time than now to join us, hang out with us, talk some ball, some sports. DC, King of the Court, before we get out of here, let's do it. King of the Court, who are you taking here on this slate? Give me a flyer.
Well, I'm going to take Maxey, but
okay,
a flyer play. I think Keontae George is capable of a big game. That'd be a flyer play.
Yeah, so Maxey, I think, is a very, very strong play. I might do the Steph Curry play just because I think people are going to be a little afraid to click him back. I think he's interesting here. But yeah, no, I like the Maxey play. Maxey was like at the top of my board. But maybe I'll go a little different and do like a Steph Curry or something like that. I'm trying to think if there's like anyone Is there anyone that you think could pull out like the Grace that you think like Keontae George has that like Grayson Allen performance, Jaime Jaquez? That would be your guy.
I'm not going lower than Keontae George. Yeah, we'll go with him.
Yeah. I think honestly, I think Nick Claxton could have like a bit. I don't know if he could give you. The problem is I don't know if he could give you like you kind of need either a massive scoring game or you need someone who can give you like all the categories, kind of crush in all categories. That's the problem. And to win this thing, DC, I think you got to either be able to drop the 40 like an SGA, a Maxey, a Steph Curry could do right on the slate, or you like crush in other areas, like get 15 rebounds and 8 assists or something like that.
You're gonna need a big score with Jokic, SGA, Maxey.
50 plus PRA, right?
Yep.
You're gonna need like 50 plus PRA on the slate. So yeah. Yeah, I don't know if any of these other guys could do it. But hey, you never know. I don't know Grayson Allen had 40 in his bag, but he's got 40 in his bag. So that's crazy shit right there. So, all right, guys, that's going to do it for this show. If you want more, come join us, rumpuresports.com. Get in for all the core plays, Big T's player pool, the slate builder, the night slate, the showdown slates. We got it all covered over here. Check us out, rumpuresports.com. And we'll see you guys tomorrow. Back up to lock tomorrow's show, members only. So get in now. And don't forget, hit the like button on your way out. For DC, I am JSU. Good luck in your DraftKings DFS and betting tonight. And we'll catch you guys tomorrow right here.